rich communication, it's not about money, it's about how deep you want to go. And here's a good chart there. You'll see it just depends where you're at. You want to avoid that overloaded area because we have so much stuff that's out there just cranking through. And I don't know about you, 100 emails a day is not a big deal. It's pretty normal for an awful lot of people. Even if you're unemployed, even if you're just retired, 100 emails is pretty common. So all of us are overloaded, but you don't want to get too oversimplified. Now, we have a really short attention span. We'll talk about that at a later date, but the reality is that the average American, just depends what study you read, is 6.7 seconds to 7.2 seconds. You have to capture them on social media. And strangely enough, a goldfish has a time span of 8.1 seconds. So in other words, a goldfish has a longer time span than a human. Well, it sounds kind of fishy to me. I don't know about you, but I've had my gills full of this stuff. But the reality of it comes down to, here are the richest in the communication. Watch the line, face to face. Did you see that? Face to face is much better than any other type. Then a video conference, telephone, instant messaging, web blogs, email, newsletter, financial statements. But you keep on going down, down, down by getting more distant from the face to face. The face-to-face is by far the richest medium, all the way down to something that's casual, almost to something that is just mentioned rather than actually personable. So make certain that you try to keep your media as rich as possible to convey a person with it, that humanity in messaging. One time I was in a class and I walked in and I got 18 students, in class 10 minutes beforehand, and they just watch them. I said, psst. All of you, the pandemic's over. You can talk to each other now. Get off your phones. So it's kind of incredible. Our natural instinct is to pick up the phone as soon as we're bored for any more than 4 seconds. We pick up our phone and we instantly start typing on it because it is our nature as human beings now, because digital is tied right into us. It's almost as if we're almost part digital communication ourselves, and we live in that world rather than a world that we're actually in. So be able to multi-communicate through lean channels. You can do multiple tasks, but don't do multiple tasks to the point of insulting the human being that you're trying to communicate or sitting next to you. Lean channels often have less social distraction because they're just focused on this topic over here or this message over here. The persuasion aspect of it, I don't know about you, but I think if I were to interpret that your world is similar to mine, the reality is that we get so many emails spammed nonstop that I get 50 emails on this particular email site, and of the 50, I put 30 of them in the garbage can, another 10 to 15 daily into my spam boxes. Then I want to see them again. And miraculously, the same company comes back with more spam with a different number or a different email address and exactly the same thing. So we have so many different aspects of it that you better capture the attention right away with a really good intro or 2 to 3 words that'll hold the attention of the reader. They don't just automatically discard it. I don't know about you, I've discarded several important communications because I assumed it was spam of some type and I had to go back and retrieve it. So the spoken communications is always more persuasive because it comes with a nonverbal component, if you can see it, and you also have a high quality for immediate feedback, and it really has a high social presence because the human has gone through and tried to communicate. Some of the barriers, you have an imperfect perpetual process, you have language problems, you have jargon, you have filtering by people's own brain, and we have so much information overload. So watch what you're doing on the information overload. Don't send out emails or text or anything else that aren't necessary. Make certain there's value to them. Don't just, I'm just touching base because. Have a purpose and a reason behind it. Otherwise, you're going to be one of those people that sends in the receiver's opinion, worthless emails that waste their time. Don't be that person. Different solutions increase the information processing capacity of you as an individual, and then sometimes reduce the information load. I am daily going through adding stuff that's going to automatically go to my spam folder. Now, that said, I've probably lost a couple interesting things, but if so, I've not suffered very much for it. So be careful about the information overload and start controlling it. You can even only answer emails or text between certain hours. I've done that before. I would check all my communications first thing in the morning to 11 o'clock. I would take 11 to 1 o'clock off, squeeze in a lunch in there, and then get back to people at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then 2 to 4 focus in on my communications, and then focus in on work. Have work breaks, so to speak, where you're clear from any type of a digital communication. We can just focus on the projects that are meaningful to you. So information overload is a serious issue. Pay attention to the richness. You want to get that receiver's attentions. Facts are not always facts. So be careful when somebody says, well, it's the truth about this, and they tell you a story. Sometimes, unless you have that person telling you the truth and you can trust them that they have investigated what the truth is, be cautious on believing too much, because there's a lot of debris out there, even by people with doctorates and everything else, where they're nothing more than salespeople pushing a product on their perspective. Information could be lost amid massive information bursts. So be cautious when you're out there, that you don't want to overload somebody, and you want to respect their time by providing them with a rich communication. Take care.